Hello everybody, welcome back to the Pokemon review series. In this episode we're going over a Pokemon which, honestly, I hate its design, but I love it in this game, Quaquaval. Now, I don't really like the way this guy looks, I don't know why, it's just something personal, but how it looks does not at all defend not using it, because my goodness, this is probably one of the best Pokemon currently in the game. In the current meta of the game, Quaquaval is one of the best Pokemon. And this video is just going to capture why that is. Now, Quaquaval is a fighting type, going in line with its fellow Paldean starters, changing type upon evolution. If you take a look at the Quaxwell, you'll see that it is in fact a water type, but they both are on slumbering sleep type, so you'll see them around there if you want to gather candies and whatnot. And it's an ingredient specialist, as is the case for it and its other trio and the rest of its trio. It's got Charge Strength M as a main skill with a 2.4% trigger rate, which is kind of okay. I mean, it's unique in that I think it's the only ingredient. It is the only ingredient specialist that has Charge Strength M currently. So that's kind of neat, but they're not going to be spending that much time on the team realistically to really be getting a lot of value out of that, especially with only a 2.4% skill trigger rate and slightly above average speed of 43 minutes and 20 seconds. It's like okay at the skill. It's not great. There are Pokemon that do it better. Don't invest main skill seeds into this guy. But where Quaquaval really, really shines, it's got a 23.2% ingredient rate, which is fairly decent with, like I said, above average speed. However, its ingredient list is one of the most phenomenal ingredient lists in the game. However, it's got an asterisk. It's got a caveat, and that realistically comes down to the fact that it's got Leeks. This is the Leek Pokemon. If you want a late game Leek investment, it is phenomenal. It's ABB. There are no mono options in the game right now for Leeks, and I think even if they do introduce a mono Leek option, I don't think it's going to outproduce the Quaquaval that much. It probably will, because it should for getting a true mono, but I don't think it'll be that much better than the Quaquaval, and if it is, I think it's going to be gimmicky. It'll probably take 16 pips, because it's most likely going to be Farfetch'd, just because of logic. So I'm not expecting a phenomenal mono Leek option like a lot of other people in the community are. I think this is the best we're going to get, because Leeks are very, very powerful. And I find Quaquaval very, very interesting, because if you look at its list, it kind of sucks pre-level 60. 2 Leeks is just terrible. But they definitely balanced this, because if they made this 3 Leeks, then my goodness, it would be insane. So let's take a look at the comparison. Like I said, A option's got soybeans, B option's got Leeks, C option has got oil. And I want to talk about the Leeks first, because it's very intriguing. If we make the comparison at level 30, it is horrendous. Well, it's actually not that bad. I said horrendous, but looking at the comparison on screen, it's not that bad. 18 on Dugtrio versus 17 on Quaquaval. It's actually a little bit better than stinking Ditto. Poor Ditto. What did it ever do to deserve this? If we give a bit more inventory, then the Dugtrio starts doing a little bit better, because Dugtrio runs into inventory problems only having 1 level of evolution instead of 2, or 1 tier of evolution instead of 2 level ups. So the Quaquaval has that going for it. So it's kind of like rough at level 30 for the Quaquaval. It's outperformed by a Dugtrio, but long-term Leeks. Leeks are a very long-term ingredient, because for the meals that take it, they take either 36, 45, or even 60 a day. 60 a day is a tremendous thing to cross with productivity for an ingredient that only comes as a B option in procs the size of 3 or like 4 at best. 3 or 4 at best, really. 5 on the best of best procs on Dugtrio and Ditto. If we compare at level 60, however, the comparison flips. And that's primarily to do with the size of the procs. Quaquaval is balanced before level 60 to be about the same as the others by having a smaller proc on the level 30 Leek proc of only 2 per day instead of 3 per day on these other ones. At level 60, though, they give it the same size proc as Dugtrio, meaning it offsets that, because now it's when it procs the C slot, it's procking the same amount, so that makes it just step up to be way better. And when you're looking for 60 a day, it's really only a Quaquaval that's going to be getting you to that point. Even if you do the common combo of Help Speed M and Ingredient Fighting M, it's still not really crossing that. You need something absurd. This is like one of the best Pokemon in the game to have Ingredient Fighting M, Help Speed M, and Ingredient Fighting Up Nature on one Pokemon. And even then, the Quaquaval barely surpasses 60 a day. Now, you don't need a Pokemon like this necessarily to actually get that threshold. Things can be mitigated with helping bonus, good camp tickets, other forms of boosting, and you can stockpile and stuff. So you can do well with a Dugtrio or a Ditto. It's just Quaquaval is like the only one that can truly do this job and do it that well because of that level 60 proc. But before that point, it kind of sucks at doing what it's doing. If you have a level 30 Quaquaval and you're hoping for lots of leaks, sorry, it's not going to do that until level 60. It is the definition of a late game Pokemon. So, let's look at its other options. Soybeans. I wouldn't really recommend it for soybeans, because it can do it well if you've got a good one. It can produce about 80 per day, which is right in line with Golem and Tyranitar for soybean production. But I still wouldn't recommend it because it can do the leeks a lot better. And if we look at the other lists, I've seen people talk about how at level 30, the level 30 soybean proc is more valuable than the level 30 leek proc, which at a base value, that is true. Leeks have a value of 185, beans have a value of 100. So leek value being 185 multiplied by 2, that's like, I'm just doing the mental math here, 370. I believe that's 370. 370 value versus 5 soybeans is 500. So this looks way more valuable, but I wouldn't recommend AAB because realistically, it's trying to make as many leeks as possible. You can do some things with synergy. If you have an AAB list, you can potentially be making Ninja Curry with that, or Ninja Salad, which I think is another thing going for it that it has over its other leek competitors. Leeks synergize real well with those soybeans, so you're actually going to be using the A ingredient in a lot of situations, whereas you won't be using the A ingredient on a Dugtrio most of the time, or the A ingredient with a Ditto most of the time. It's going to be actually using that, which is way more powerful than what the other guys can get, because those ingredients aren't just waste. So, because you can use it in these Ninja Salads, and that's another thing that I think tips Quaquaval over the edge of being the better leek option, compared to Dugtrio and Ditto. So, you can use those soybeans with the AAB list if you're doing Ninja Curry or Ninja Salad, but then you're really locking yourself in, and leeks are one of the most powerful ingredients in the game, so I wouldn't really typically recommend it. You can do well with it, though, if you catch it. If you catch the bomb.com of an AAB Quaquaval, maybe that's what you do. Maybe that's what you invest in, because it's what the game handed you. But I wouldn't ever recommend hunting it for that purpose. ABA, similar boat. I really, really wouldn't recommend this one, because the B proc for leeks is sad. It is pitiful. So this is more like a bad version of a mono soybean Pokemon that produces just a little tiny amount of leeks. And then for oil, don't run it for oil. Oil has very little Pokemon in the game right now that do well at it. And even amongst all the oil ingredient specialists, which is a sad comparison to begin with, it comes in pretty low. It's worse than a Gengar for that purpose, and people never really consider oil on a Gengar. So, yeah, it does other things way, way better. Let the Quaquaval do what the Quaquaval is designed to do, because it is one of the most powerful ingredient specialists in the game, and it can be very good at that job, at either of those jobs, really. And there aren't that many other options for leeks yet. So, if you want to hunt it, Siam Beach, Lapis Lakeside, Old Gold Power Plant, and that's really the case with it and its pre-evolutions. It's also existing at Greengrass, but once again, don't hunt it there. That's where everything spawns, so the pool is super watered down. So hunted out your cyan, lapis, or old gold. Yeah. If you have enjoyed the video and maybe learned something, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It does help out the channel quite a bit. Come join us in the Discord. That link will be in the description for everyone. We have a great time talking about Pokemon Sleep in there and discussing strategy and whatnot. And yeah, as always, I thank you guys for watching and hope that you all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye now.